up the child is kind of like the parents' choice. It should be up to them to bring that kid however they want. And it shouldn't be like other people are getting involved and...
My grandparents understand me better than my parents. So they start ganging up against their parents.
So in a joint family setup, the grandparents also won't feel lonely.
I think moving out for work or moving away for work, that was there from a very long time. That's not something very new.
Let's say in the perspective of the kid getting more attention, doesn't that spoil, doesn't make the kid a more spoiled for choices kind?
That
A
is bound.
pampered lot who isn't, exposed to the reality of the world where you don't get things as you like. Isn't that going to be harder for the kid to take in? Or even, I think you can also see that happen when, nowadays, I see a lot of these Gen Z parents and even millennial parents for that matter, who want to give everything to the kid that they haven't gotten themselves. I mean, that has been the concept ever, right? Your grandparents have done so much for your parents have done so much for you, and the thing goes on. But nowadays, the focus has become more on giving than inculcating those values. Because back then, even when they used to give you those things that you wanted, they made sure that you knew it came because of some effort. So you have to put in that hard work only to get the result that you want. You wouldn't just get it that way. But nowadays, you'll get, because parents want to pamper their children. So the parent themselves have gotten the whole idea wrong of giving what your children want. So,
Yeah, the pampering thing, the thing is, giving too much attention is also bad. And sometimes in a joint family, a kid might feel lost. That is also another thing. So both ways there are advantages and disadvantages. But I think I agree with another point you said about values. Having elders in the family, like other people, you can have a better value system. In a nuclear family, the parents will have to play the part of everyone for the kid. Like that somewhere becomes difficult. If they put in the effort, it'll be the best for the child. But if they're busy, they cannot do it, nuclear family kind of becomes difficult for a kid. They might have the feeling of they'll be pampered, but they'll be lonely. That is a feeling that can creep into a kid.
And when it comes to pampering, which you were talking about, sometimes if in a joint family, the kid is pampered even more. Like, for example, if there are grandparents also, obviously grandparents love their grandkids. And sometimes even when the parents are trying to discipline the child, or when, if they try to scold the child just to bring them in the right way, obviously, the grandparents might try to intervene. They might say, why are you scolding the kid? You can, tell them in a soft manner, something. In some cases, the parents might feel like, okay, I'm trying to discipline the kid and they are not letting me do that kind of a thing. Yeah. So if they're occasionally meeting with grandparents or relatives or something, then that's fine. But if they're always living together and the grandparents always intervene and say, they don't allow the parent to scold the kid or anything like that, then the parents might feel like, okay, that they're interfering and they're not letting them bring the child in the way that they want to. So bringing up the child is kind of like the parents' choice. It should be up to them to bring that kid however they want. And it shouldn't be like other people are getting involved, and it shouldn't be like diluted there. So that's one point. And the other point is, this is not in respect to kids, but anybody in general. They always say distance makes the heart long for it, for the affection or anything. So when people are at a distance, they always tend to value that more. So when they stay away from something, they will yearn for it. They will want it. They will want that, and they will know the value of it more. For example, someone who moves abroad, they'll always be waiting to come back to their family. They'll always be waiting for that next occasion when they'll all be together again. They'll cherish that moment even more. Rather than someone who's always with the family, not saying they won't value the family, they will obviously, but someone who stays away for most of the year and just comes back for that one occasion or is just back for that short brief time, they value that even more and they make it even more special than they would have otherwise. So that's one more point with nuclear families and how it affects the whole family dynamic in general.
I think, moving out for work or moving to different places for work, this was there from a very long time. Like, even in the past, even in the 80s and 90s, it was there. But at the same time, I think people would frequently visit their family for each festival, or I think once in 2 months or once in a month or something like that, and make sure that everything is fine, and they would spend some time and then come back to their own place. And I think the distance also would not be that much. Like, for example, if you're from Mysore, then you'll move to Bangalore, and but you'll be in the same, like, you can go back in 3 hours or something like that. So that, but I think moving out for work or moving away for work, that was there from a very long time. That's not something very new, is what I feel. And another thing is, when we have elders in the family, or if it is a very big family, like, we have heard many celebrities also tell us that I had like 20 members or 12 to 15 people in my family, and it was very good. We used to sleep in anyone's room. We used to get all the love from everyone, and we used to get scolded by others in the family also, get disciplined by others. So I think if each person in the family, if they discuss among themselves how to raise a child, or if they are like cooperative enough, I think it'll become easier for everyone. The parents, like, if people basically focus on making it easier for each other, even like whether it is raising a child or even coexisting or whatever it is, I think everything will become much more easier. The career or raising the child or whatever it is, if grandparents understand their boundaries, if the parents understand their boundaries, and then if the others, like uncle, aunt, whoever is there, if they understand that, okay, whenever it is necessary, we have to discipline the child, or we have to help them with the career, or help each other with our careers, then I think it's better. It's much more
So
easier.
they need to be more adaptive.
Yeah,
accordingly.
everyone.
Even the parenting styles, or
Hmm.
like she was talking about how grandparents are the ones who take care of their grandkids, or else they pamper them, right? Correct. Understood. But if they are in like the joint family and they have been doing it repetitively, they kind of understand also that what they are doing is probably hindering what the parent is trying to teach, so they adapt accordingly. But what happens with let's say visiting grandparents is they wouldn't know the impact they are having on the kid. So let's say a grandparent comes and showers the kids with all sorts of gifts and everything to make it happy. So the kid, in its mind, when it's developing, in the developing ages, obviously, not the older kids, because they understand the difference clearly. What the younger kid will think is, my grandparents understand me better than my parents. So they start ganging up against their parents, which is not the right thing to do. And the grandparents wouldn't know the difference. So they think that the grandchild is showing some extra love towards us. So they give it back. So reciprocate. But the parent is the one who's facing the brunt of the situation. And if they clearly don't say it out the way they have to, that might cause like a rift between the parents as well as the kids. The parents with their parents and with their children. So if like the communication is very clear that this is what I'm trying to teach my child, and I'd need you to understand that and accordingly act upon it. So it's easier for things to work out. And that happens mostly happens in joint families, because the parenting styles have almost become like very similar. I mean, you can't expect parents to be like have the same parenting style because every individual is different. But what happens is throughout time you will see each other, like let's say educating that child accordingly, and you will adapt to it. So there'll be one child who needs more attention. That's when they learn, or they need to be a little more softer when you have to tell them things. And there are some kids who don't need anything to be said. They do things on their own. So there are different ways of parenting different kinds of kids, and that you'll see only in like a joint family. Nuclear becomes hard when you know uh, relatives come over and try doing their way of parenting. It spoils the whole thing. So that would be another take on.
In a joint family setup, the grandparents also won't feel lonely. That is another thing.
Correct. True.
Because in a nuclear family, there's chances if they're living separate, the elders will also feel lonely. That is another point I felt. But so another thing I feel is in terms of money. That is another thing which is affected by the type of family they stay in. In a nuclear family, the family will have a lot of disposable income. They can take their decision in terms of how they can spend their money. It is only to themselves. They want to buy a TV, washing machine. They just can take any decision without consulting a lot of people. But what happens in a joint family is decisions are more collective, because the outlook in a joint family is mostly on wealth creation, I guess.
Correct.
They would want to grow collectively rather than just individually. So there, if a person has their individual desires for some how they want to spend their money, it becomes a little difficult. Having an individualistic personality becomes a little difficult. You'll be very you'll become like in corporate terms, you'll become a team player. So that's what happens in a joint family. That's what I feel.
I think the whole dynamics in general is changing because these days, like we've already discussed, like a lot of these kids who are moving to the cities or starting their families there, and then obviously when they have a kid, and if both parents are working, they need people to take care of that kid. So again, they're calling their parents, and these days it's become more like so older people are not really left alone to tend for themselves or something, because for example they have two kids, one kid is in one city and the other kid is in another city. They mostly spend their whole year like maybe 3 months in this kid's house, 3 months in the other kid's house, and the rest of the time maybe in their own hometown, because they don't want to completely move in with the kids. They don't want to leave their hometown and go, but at the same time they're still in touch with the kids also. So it's something like they're constantly changing. They're shifting to adapt to the whatever the changed situation right now. So there's one kid here, they go spend time with that kid, and there's another kid in another city, they go spend time with that kid's family, and they spend time and take care of their own things, responsibilities, commitments that they have in their hometown. Maybe they might have like an ancestral home or whatever it is, they have an own home there, and they spend time there also. So it's more like they're also shifting and adapting to the situation and doing what is best for them and best for everybody else. So I think it's more like, so nobody, I mean everybody, it's like a win-win situation. Everybody benefits from this whole system that is happening. So yeah,
I think the willingness to adapt, as you said, from everyone's end, I think that is what we need, and